And I want to bring up another mentor, too, who was instrumental in your career, Conrad Hall, another tremendous cinematographer, of course. You worked with him on Road to Perdition and American Beauty, right? Correct, those two movies, or more?
Another one called Class Action, and they had he and Haskell Wexler had a Robin Hood company that redistributed wealth and made commercials. So I was with them for quite a while.
What did you take away from Conrad, or Connie, as he was often known? He was, I had heard this too, from having interviewed him about American Beauty, very fond of, you mentioned the word serendipity, the idea that, you know, you can prepare for, I don't want to say accidents, but you can prepare for the unexpected and bring that into your work on set, rather than things being, you know, lock, stock, right through. Do you have that memory of Conrad and when you were working with him as a gaffer?
Yeah, when thinking of Conrad in mentorship, he was a great example of somebody who was a very passionate artist, and he managed to bring passion into a sort of passion and love, in parenthesis, a little bit of obsession here and there, into a sphere that's kind of intrinsically, part of it is technological, obviously, but he would resist that fervently, and he used to joke with me all the time. He said, well, I don't even know the names of the lights. Give me a big one over there. And he knew what a 10K was, but he wasn't going to admit it. And then he was always sort of attuned to things that happen. In our line of work, as opposed to, you know, say if you had a broadcast newsroom or something and you have to make sure the lights come on at 5 or whenever they do. And what we do is we build up something and do what we need to do, and then we move on, and so we tear it down. And in the process of constantly creating this kind of stuff, funny little things happen, accidents, or a light might be turned on before it gets to where you think it should be. And Conrad would, I mean, we were joking earlier, and it was actually not a joke, but like a light would fall off and bounce twice and land, and he'd get hysterical. This is fantastic, don't touch it. And it was doing something, it was reflecting off of something, it was and it was just what he wanted. And I think serendipity is good things that happen unexpectedly, as that's a definition, perhaps, or close to it. And he taught me to stay sort of attuned to that, basically to keep your eyes open, because there's a million distractions when you're trying to, you know, if you have a crew of 120 people and all sorts of stuff, it's easy to get distracted from seeing.
You mentioned that Clint has a saying, the paralysis of analysis, I think you mentioned, and the idea that don't overthink too much, and I guess that goes into working quickly too. If you're overanalyzing a shot or a scene or a lighting setup, things slow down. So have you had to go against your own nature doing that? I mean, were you always comfortable doing that, or is that something you learned on his movies?
I had to be retrained. No, you sort of, you get comfortable with it. I think a lot of people, a lot of my peers, in fact, we joke about it sometimes. They'd be very, very uncomfortable with it. But I sort of always figure that it's, you know, it's not brain surgery, and we're not going to lose the patient on the table if something goes wrong. But and he's sort of right. Eventually, if you just embrace it, it's, I don't know, you know, the movies turn out okay. And
yeah.
So
$600 million later.
Putting it positively, it's really about the performance and telling the story. And the other thing that he's become sort of controversial politically, and the thing about him that I think shows in all his films is he doesn't underestimate the audience, and he's not, I mean, frankly, the controversy with this film, there are people that think, you've got this right-leaning guy who made a consummate war movie, And then there's other people, I can cite literature that, you know, this guy made the consummate anti-war movie.
Right.
And that, I think, is a manifestation of the respect he shows for the audience. And, you know, that people can think, and we don't need to see the guy's face. You know, you don't need to see the face and the lips move if you hear what the person's saying. So you can play with it in different sort of states.